Well, hello everyone and welcome back. If you are new here, thanks for stopping in. I hope you enjoy this video. So I am doing something today different than I normally do called a week in the life. Now I did record some snippets of color with all my clients last week, and I wanted to put them out there. These are all the befores, by the way. These are not the afters. I wanted to show you the befores, and then you can see what I do in the after is going to include the formulas and some of the technique as I do it. So let's get started with client number 1. Now mind you, I am trying to do this while I have our new kitten Finn biting at my toes, so bear with me. This is Emily, and this is her before. She has an old ombre from about 7 or 8 months ago, and she wants to go a lot darker for her base with some caramely, like a literal, not like a blonde caramel, but a nice rich caramely toffee toned highlight. In my zigzag pattern, I did the 4N at the base and then added the highlights with 10 volume, and then this is the toner we did. I also ran the 4N through in between the foils after adding them. Now this is the toner on the hair. It sat for about 10 minutes. If you'd like to see my zigzag pattern in full, I do have a full video on that, so you can kind of see what I mean when I say that, and I'll link it above right here. Go ahead and go watch that. It's a really nice, easy way to get to those nice ribbony foils that are still blended in. But this is the after. She loved it so much. She actually showed me a picture of a before that had almost like a level 2 with some highlights in there, this color, but I told her, and I knew, she was not about to want to go that dark, and she said this was perfect. She would not want to bet any darker, so make sure you read between the lines with your clients. Now, this is client number 2. What's really cool about this client is she's actually a subscriber. She found me on my videos, and she only lives about 30 minutes away from me, and this was her before last time. That was before and after of a correction that I did for her. Now, this has been quite a few months, and you see how nice it's actually grown out. I did not do a video on that, and but we just did really fine highlights to break up if you go back and look at that picture, you can tell where it needed to be broke up. And right now we're just retouching her, but also freshening up a little bit more brightness because she would like to be pretty bright. So the formula is Blonde Dimensions with 25 volume, which she wants to get brighter, but I am not trying to overlap the lightener too much. I am actually, if you've seen back a few seconds ago where I retouched the root and then I weaved out the dark pieces that are in the mid shaft of the ends and then highlighted those, but left the old highlights out. And then this is around the hairline. I do a really fine weave, that way she can grow it out for a while and it still blends in. I do have a video for that. I will link that above right here also. And I am making sure I'm very careful with her hair. I'll probably brighten up the ends for her next time I'll feel comfortable doing that, now that I've had her in my chair a couple times, but she's been fried many of times before, so we are being very careful. Now, this is client number 3, Mary, and she comes in about once a year and treats herself. She normally just gets highlight every single time. She's, this is the end of summer, so naturally those being the sun brought out those warm tones, and so we want to add some dimension back in there. We always just do a basic highlight, so I talked her into doing something a little bit different today. We are going to do a highlight low light. This way it'll still be nice enough for her as it grows out, and she won't have like a line of demarcation or anything, but she'll have something a little bit different. Instead of just being a solid blonde look, we are going to add lowlights also. And the highlights I used 20 volume, and the lowlights I did 6N mainly, and then added some 4N to make it rich in color. And I know that as this grows out, it is just a dummy color and it will fade as the time goes on. She still wants to be pretty blonde, and since she has very fine hair, that'll be easy. So I actually just went ahead and did alternating highlight, low light, and then we just painted some of her ends to brighten them up with some lightener. Now this is client number 4, Amber, and actually she doesn't come in very often either. It's probably been a year for her, so it's kind of ironic. I had a couple of I don't have very many clients that go that long, and they both kind of came in this week, so it was good. I do see them sometimes still, and actually Amber's son is on my son's basketball team and football team, so I still do see her, and I always tell her to get in the salon, but she wanted to do something different this time. The goal picture she had shown me was basically an all over dark, like really ashy dark with highlights and bright blonde ends, and knowing that we did not want to have the line of demarcation, even though you use demi color. If you do all over a couple levels darker, you may still have that line that may not fade fast enough, so we are careful. So what I did is went through, did a really heavy low light. You see here, this is where I'm doing the low light, and then I add a couple highlights within, and then go in between and brighten up the ends. Now I do it section by section, so instead of going through and doing all the highlight, low light, then going back in and adding the ends, like I knew her hair doesn't always lighten the easiest, so I wanted to make sure that I did section by section. That way I could rinse out a back part if I wanted to, and then go to the front. But here is our after, and it blends in so good straight. I love it. And then here is after curling it. Now the toner I used is right below. I didn't show doing that, but it ended up beautiful and shiny, and she loves it. Now, this is client number 5, Beth, and she has been coming to me forever. And this is after her last one. She had been doing it for a while on her own. She had moved away for about a year and did just basically, I think that one brand that you can buy online, and they say that it's a professional formulating your color for you. Well, she was getting like a darkest brown, almost black, and she wanted to go into her natural salt and pepper color, so we're taking it step by step, obviously. So last time I did a really heavy highlight with only 20 volume, because like I said, I don't think I've ever colored over somebody who has used that, and I wasn't sure what it was going to do. So now this is our second time, and I'm actually going in with, right now it's the Blend Dimensions with 30 volume. Yes, I could have done a color remover first and then did all that. Then it would have been this weird color. Then you still would have had deposited color back into it to take away the warmth. And I just didn't want to mess with it. So we're just taking it step by step. We know it might be a process, and she's fine with that. Now notice when I'm doing the highlight, I am not putting the lightener on her natural color. It's only about an inch regrowth, so I'm starting at that inch regrowth and then swiping down and maybe fanning it up just a touch so it's not, has a line there. And you can see right here, I just take the corners of my brush to blend it up in there, and I will do like the 30 on the colored, the part that has not been highlighted. And then I add 10 volume, I believe it was 10 volume, maybe it was 15, through the already pre-lightened pieces, because I don't want that to be on there too long. And then we did let it sit for a good 45 minutes, slow and steady. You don't want to power through it. I did add a little bit of a warm hair dryer. I have a dryer that just actually leaks out warm air like you would get from your furnace. So that's what I used on her for just a couple minutes just to get it warm. And then I turned it off, and I left the hood on her head to keep the warm in there. Now, this is because it was a chilly day and I kind of had a chill in the salon and I didn't want it to slow down. I'm not saying I recommend you putting a hot dryer on there at all. But you see right there how the color lifted, and you can see where I left her roots out. Now, I rinsed her out, and then I am shampooing her with a blue shampoo. I let this sit for a few minutes, and I wanted to show you what it looked like before I rinsed it. It looks scary, almost like it turned it blue. Then you rinse it, and you notice everything is all good because she left it orange, as I knew she would. Now this is her toner, and I let that sit for a good 15 minutes as we sat and chatted, and then rinsed. And this is our after. You can see how we're getting her there a little bit more lighter, less of that dark left in there. Now I know she has salt and pepper hair. Notice that underneath I did not put as many highlights because we're going to keep that darker. And if you add too many, it won't look natural like her natural salt and pepper hair, because there's way more pepper back there than salt. Client number 6. This is Emma. I have a couple videos with Emma, I think 1 or 2, and she has amazing hair, and she likes to do things differently, but she doesn't want it to look so drastic like she got something done. And I know she sounds like she's a difficult client, but she's really not. It's actually really easy to do. So again, I'm doing another thing where I do a highlight, low light, and leaving the ends lighter. And I'm actually trying the girl that I work with. I work in her salon now, and I still haven't did an updated video on that, have I? Well, she uses Joico, the Blonde Life, and I wanted to try it out, and she always told me I could, so I did, and I really like it. It has a great consistency. It lifted amazing, and like I said, I only tried it on her, so I only have that client to compare it to. Emma lifts nicely all the time anyways, but it's almost like it just like a nice even tone, and I think I'm going to buy some just to have to use on certain people, and the consistency is beautifully creamy. Okay, back to the color. Highlight, lowlight, highlight, lowlight. I did a couple lowlights to a highlight. Now I'm doing around her hairline. Again, I can show you the video, but see, I'm just doing really fine pieces, and because I don't, like I said, with her, it just grows up perfectly. It ends up just blending in even a few months later. And then around the hairline down here, I always add a lightener right above the ear, even though I want some depth. Some people might do a dark first, think, oh, I need a dark underneath, right? Well, I do it around the hairline, I keep it bright, then add that low light right above it. Now I'm doing a root smudge with a 6N and 7A, and then leave that on, and then bring that toner that I just showed you through the ends and let it sit for a few minutes. Now this is after, it definitely has some dimension in there, but it looks natural, but there's more depth than her natural hair color is. So that's exactly what she wanted. It was basically like it was dark on top and blonde on the ends, right? So we evened all that out where it had highlights throughout and lowlights throughout. Well, thank you for watching. I always appreciate everybody that comes and supports me. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. That kind of helps me bring these videos to you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you thinking? Go ahead and subscribe. And there's even that bell there. If you click that bell, it'll notify you when I do bring out more. I hope to be bringing out more soon to you. I do have a couple in queue. So I will be back. I hope you will be back too. Bye.